Yeah, it is time for Crime Stoppers. Time to welcome in today's guest. I saw once a month we'll have the folks from Eye Care on, and they bring us fantastic guests like this one today, Mr. Robert Webb Jr. Welcome aboard, sir. How are you?
Thank you. It's an amazing day.
Is it?
Yes.
I think so. So, side note: today's the first day of the NCAA basketball tournament. I'm in a mood. It's you know that
It's
vibe.
ready, yes.
11 o'clock. We're done. We're done. One eye on the TV, one eye on the TV.
Right.
It's just there is no more work. Let's dive in though. We do still have work to get to before that. Tell listeners a little bit about who you are, what you're doing here, what brings you here today.
Awesome. So, again, I'm Robert M. Webb Jr. I am the principal of the Grand Rising McKinley Senior High School, which I'm really excited to be here and be there. And today, what brings me here, just to let folks know that we are definitely creating a culture of safe and secure on our campus, because that's just really important for our kids to make sure we have high quality of teaching and learning happening.
It does have to start with safety. I mean, you can't get to anything else. You can't get to the math, the English, the science until everyone is safe and secure. Are you new to the EBR school system?
Actually not.
Okay.
I've come back. When I first started out, I started out as a language therapist at Delmont Elementary. I was assistant principal and the dean at Sherwood Middle. I was assistant principal at Northeast Elementary. I was assistant principal at Baton Rouge Magnet High School, and principal for several years at Bel Air High School.
Okay.
So no, this is not new. It's new for me coming back, and I'm really excited because EBR has always taken care of me. So I'm really excited that they welcomed me home.
So Baton Rouge High, up Government Street, Bel Air, a little bit further out. So you've been around the town a good bit. McKinley, where y'all are at, I mean, what's the vibe there right now? What's the culture, the current culture like?
So it's always a culture shift, especially when you talk about change. And we've been changing a few things to make sure individuals feel safe. One of the things that I did, I met with each class, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students, and I asked, what's the number one priority for you? And they said, Mr. Webb, we want to be safe. So that, to me, has become my number one priority. Because once I have it where the kids are safe, the teachers are safe, people feel safe around the community, because that's what drives the community or the schools.
No, 100%. It's education is the silver bullet for everything else under the sun. And Robert M. Webb Jr., principal over at McKinley High, is our guest. Robert, does it upset you that the safety isn't a given, though? Like, if you're asking students what's their number one priority, like that they don't skip right past that to get to something else. How does that affect your approach?
Well, I think what it does, it lets me know the importance of what they view, as a priority for them. Do I think it should be given? You would think it would be, but it's not always that. It's not always that given to say, hey, look, it's automatic, we're going to be safe.
Yeah.
Because our reality is that doesn't happen all the time. So we sometimes have to put things in place to say, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this. And the kids are actually seeing it. Some things they agree with and some things they don't, because kids are kids and they're going to fill in gaps where we have gaps, and do kid things. But we have to make sure as adults that we close those gaps. So we are definitely having a safe campus, and we're not taking anything for granted that, hey, it's just understood it's supposed to be safe. No, we have to put measures in place to make sure kids feel that way.
So I go there because what kids view right now, they can also view the improvement. So when improvements are made, they will see that and they will respond in kind. So when it comes down to improving school safety, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to the parents in your school? What does it mean to the entire community around your school?
Well, I think the most important thing, and everybody has to understand, before you can tell, especially our generation of kids that we have today, you have to build relationships with them. Because the first thing they will want to say is, like, you want to tell me what to do? You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. So you have to build those relationships. And it's not just building relationships with kids. You have to build relationships with parents as well. Parents are sometimes They think they've always gotten a bad rap sometimes. So at some point, even with building relationship with parents, you have to allow parents to win sometimes. Sometimes they've been in a position not to ever win,
Okay.
especially when it comes to school.
Yeah.
So you build relationships with them and you allow them to have certain wins with when it comes to their kids because they just love their kids and they just want them to have a great education. And there's nothing wrong with that, you
Yeah,
know.
and winning begets winning. So
Yes.
you could build off of that to be sure. We're talking with Robert M. Webb Jr., principal over at McKinley. Let's talk about culture overall because you're in. So McKinley, I think, is in a unique position because when you talk about diversity on campus, you've got people coming in from everywhere, like all walks of life at McKinley.
Yes.
Those students, though, all have cell phones and can see videos from other schools. They could see WBRZ.com. They could see the worst of it. Nobody ever sees the best of it via social media. But that all lends into a student's mindset when they walk through the doors. How do you define culture based off of those mindsets?
Well, one, McKinley has a great history. When you talk about the oldest high school, black high school in Louisiana that began in 1907, that by itself lets you know there's a culture there.
Yeah.
You know, and I can, on a personal note, my entire father's family, everyone went to McKinley.
Mhm.
They all graduated from McKinley High School. So for me, it's building a culture that our community and parents and students and teachers will be proud of. Like where they say, I'm a McKinley High School student, or I'm a McKinley High School teacher, or my kid goes to McKinley. And for even the community to know that I'm proud that McKinley High School is in South Baton Rouge and that's a part of who we are. You
Mhm.
know, it's a part of our DNA. So it's really important as we build culture and build new ideas for McKinley that we write our own narrative and we talk about how important it is for our kids to have high quality teaching, high quality learning. And it just makes a difference when you're building culture because the natural state of it is the culture that we do is we learn here.
Yeah.
We promote for graduation. We promote for our kids to get scholarships, you know, and you have to take the other things and say, well, if a kid has an altercation or if a kid is in disarray, that's out of our culture and that's out of our norm. So it looks different where like kids will begin to say, we don't do that here.
Right.
You know, and you just that's building that culture to get there.
Where within that, where is the line to walk between, even if that altercation happens, you're still ours. You're still one of us.
Right.
You're still McKinley. How do you walk that path?
Well, what you do is because again, the school is a training ground.
Yes.
That's what it is. And we have to still have conversations with our kids about the mistakes they made.
Mhm.
But the good thing is, like I say, it's a training ground. So you can make mistakes here, and we hope that they aren't detrimental. Because once you leave us, then you're leaving the training ground that you've been on, and now mistakes can be detrimental. So
Right.
what you do, you build that again, that relationship with kids and you talk about it. And I will say, even if a kid has altercation, when you talk to that kid and you get to the gist of whatever it is, I haven't had a kid I think yet that hadn't said, Miss Webb, I'm sorry. It was a bad decision. You know, and
Right.
we've talked about what bad decisions look like, what consequences are. And I really tried to head it off at the path by letting them know what consequences will happen for the action, just to be proactive and not reactive.
Now, all this is going to come back around to academics because
Yes.
that's the goal here. You get the safety and the reps, so you can get to the teaching. So let's talk about you, your teachers, making a difference in the academic world of these kids.
Yeah. So when it comes to our teachers, the most important part of our kids' learning are the teachers in the classroom. You know, even if I don't come to work, teaching and learning still has to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes place with our teachers. But we have to ensure that our teachers receive the professional development that they need to ensure that they present a high quality education for our kids. So we have to make sure they're trained, they have all the resources they need to be successful for our kids. And that's just super important. So to find out those things, you have to go in and you have to observe, you have to look, you have to see where the shortfalls are. And it becomes one of those things when you create a culture when you're going to a teacher, when a principal goes to the teacher's class, it doesn't have to be a thing of, I got you, I got you. It's one of those things of, I got you.
I hear you. Yeah, completely.
You know, and I'm going to do everything I can within my power for you to be successful.
We're talking with Robert M. Webb, Jr., principal over at McKinley. I got to walk down this path, and we're going to run long, Alondra. I'm letting you know right now. I got to walk down this path. Established in 1907. When you speak of the longevity and legacy of McKinley, you speak with pride. We haven't mentioned that word pride yet. Are we at a place where we can start to have, and look, I come from a Catholic school background, right? I went to St. Paul's in Covington. I'm 46 years old, and I'm still very proud of my school. Are we in a place right now where a McKinley can stay with a student long after they graduate?
Oh, yes. In fact, that's part of what we're doing because we are now looking, once our students, whether they go to a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a technical school, join the military, where we follow up behind our kids to see where their successes are. And I will tell you this, as many tests, and I understand the having to take assessments for kids.
Yeah.
I get it. But what's not measured on the assessment test is that kid you see 5 or 10 years later at the grocery store, in Walmart, and that kid says, hey, Mr. Webb, let me tell you what I'm doing with my life. We can't measure that, you know, but it's happening every day.
Connection builds community.
That's right.
And keeping that is how you move that legacy forward. Established 1907. Like, that should be shouted from the rooftops all the time.
Yes.
It's a huge one. So keeping them motivated post high school, getting that connection. How do you do that?
So what we do is we follow through with, you know, we have individuals with our counselors that will follow through with the kids to see exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we do have is a very strong alumni. So we always welcome our kids back.
Yeah.
And that by itself helps create that vacancy of, okay, I'm gone, and now my life just goes on. No, you're not gone. You are McKinley Senior High School alumni now.
Right.
Alumni. So what we need you to do is come back, and we need you to give back. So we don't cut them loose. They are always ours.
And I mean, from not a full-on big brother, big sister standpoint, but there's only so much that you and I can convey to a younger generation that isn't going to get lost in the weeds coming from old men like us, right? There's that immediate past class. There's that immediate, like, oh, this is what they're on to now, and it's still cool to follow.
Right.
So,
well, and I'm going to tell you something. So McKinley, again, the alumni is very strong. We've been planning for the McKinley High Alumni Picnic. Well, when we looked at the date for the picnic, they were looking at mid-May. I said, no, guys, let's have the picnic after graduation. So now we can have our students who have graduated to be a part of the alumni picnic because they are now alumni.
Yeah, welcome in. Yes. I like it.
Yes.
I like it. We are straight up out of time. Yes, we did run long, but we got to break it here. He is Robert M. Webb, Jr., principal over at McKinley. This has been your Crime Stopper segment. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brian.
We are at 7:52. We're way